My name is Brent Caldwell. I'm a lifelong Owen County resident. I graduated Owen County High School in 1998. I have one 15-year-old daughter that's here with me. She's a freshman at Owen County. In 2004, I entered the Kentucky Police Academy and became a certified peace officer of the state. From there, the last 18 years, I've been with the Sheriff's Office. We've grown the last year. I think we became the best we've ever been. We had 7 felony drug arrests in the months of March and April. We took 9 cases to grand jury last week, and I ask for your votes so we can keep things going the way they're going.
My name is Marty Lilly. My real name is Charles Martin Lilly, but everybody knows me by Marty. I was born and raised in Owen County. I have a pretty good sized family. My mom and dad was Charles and Joyce Lilly. I got siblings David, Debbie, and Jeff Lilly. I'm married to my beautiful wife Tina that's sitting here at this table all by herself. I have 4 children that are married and have, well, not one of them's in college. Boy, I'm in trouble now. One of them's in college, the rest of them are married. I have 5 grandchildren, most of which are going to the school system out here. You know, we live at a time that if we don't keep up, we get behind. That's just common sense. So my whole belief with the Sheriff's Office is change. You have to adapt, and you have to change, and you have to make progress. When I first started in law enforcement in the 80s, I went up the ranks and was chief of police. In 1990, a guy come to me, wanted me to run with him. He ran for sheriff in Water and wanted me to be his chief deputy. I was in the Sheriff's Office for 31 years as chief deputy. Know what I'm doing? I have ideas that, as anybody has bosses, you got to do what the boss says. So I've never been able to, thank you, I've never been able to use my own ideas of what I want to do for the Sheriff's Office. But I assure you, part of it is got to be changed. We got to keep up with the times. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to shift over to the sheriff's position, and Marty, you went last, so I'm going to have you start if you don't mind, please.
Thank you, sir. As I told you in my opening statement, you have to be ready for change, especially nowadays. Back in the 80s when I first started in law enforcement, if you told me that there was going to be computers in cruisers, I would have laughed you silly, because who would have thought? But that changed, and I've adapted to that change. As things have went on, I've adapted to all the changes, and that's what we have to do. We have to keep going forward. I want to be a leader, not just a sheriff. I want to be a leader in the community. Got to be a leader in the Sheriff's Office. You have to be in charge of the Sheriff's Office. There's different problems, but one of the problems, and I'll tell you this, is of course drugs. Everybody talks about drugs when it comes to law enforcement. I have some great ideas on how to combat it. I assure you I will make a difference. I promise you I will make a difference. Just recently, everybody knows meth, heroin, fentanyl, all those things are terms that everybody knows. There's a new one out, believe it or not. It's called, it's fentanyl, but it's a new kind of the way they make it, and it's called purple fentanyl. They can put it in a pill form. It can look like an antidepressant. It can look like a pain pill. I will be after the drugs if I'm elected as sheriff. Thank you.
Brent, please.
Right now, our biggest issue we've had is the retention of deputies. We've got a good group right now. We've got some guys who are invested in the community, local guys. if we can keep them, we're gonna increase our drug investigations. Last month, 7 of our meth arrests were on 355 from Perry Park to Worthville. We're just gonna keep working on communities that need the help and go from there.
Thank you. So the second question, we're going to begin with the sheriff's position, and Brent, you'll be going first. It's a 3-part question, and as you're familiar, politics is local. This is about 355. 3 parts. The condition of the road. How do we better regulate the speed, particularly the trucks? Then the last part is, at 227 and Old 355, there's a triangle. Many of us had noticed cars parked there. We can guess what's going on. Maybe you can tell us what is going on, why cars would park with frequency in the triangle. Brent, you're up first, please.
The first part, 355, from what I can recall, it's I get the roads confused.
355 is one right outside.
I'm at the roughness of the road.
Yeah.
I don't think 355 is that bad between Perry Park and Worthville, from what I can recall, except for a couple downhill curves there. And the triangle there, 2 of our meth arrests in March and April came out of that triangle, so whether they're buying or selling or using, they do tend to hang out in that triangle. What was the other part? Speed. It's kind of funny that comes up because we've been in this area because of complaints the last 2 months. That's how we were able to get our 7 meth arrests. There's been several speeding tickets wrote, but I'm aware of the dump trucks. We probably need some more morning time patrol to slow down the dump trucks.
Thank you. Marty?
355 is not a fun road to drive on, especially in certain places. Everybody knows that if you drove on it. As far as, commenting on why it's like that or any kind of fix on it, I don't think really I got an answer there. One of the problems is it's a bottom, it's a river bottom. Most of the road that from start to finish, it's a river bottom, so very hard to keep the road in good condition. As far as the speeding, that's a no-brainer. You put units out there and you stop the speeding. There are other things like the big trucks. They're supposed to have certain things that they do different than a car, which is like cover their load and stuff like that. So you can watch for stuff like that, and you can pull them over and cite them for their various things. As far as the area that he's talking about, that area has always been I don't want to say a hot bed for illegal activity, but it's been a warm bed for legal activity. And you can do twofold there. You can keep a cruiser in that area, like coming to your complaints, whatever, make sure you pass through there, which is something that I will have the units do. Thank you.
I don't want to assume you're welcome to make comments, although I don't believe it's part of your job description.
All I could say is, I know these business leaders, they do want professional, sharp-looking law enforcement in the communities they come to, and I plan to give them that.
Thank you.
I think the taxes is kind of a sore subject, but as the sheriff, our job is to collect taxes. We kind of get get the heat from it when they come in to pay them and everything, but, no, I'm not in favor of raising taxes. But sometimes certain things happen and that has to happen. But, as sheriff, I will do my job as far as, collecting the taxes.
Thank you. Okay, gonna switch subjects now. Again, it's a multi-part question. What can be done about blighted properties? Specifically, structures that are deteriorating, that have a health and safety concern. And the other part is abandoned vehicles with expired tags that sit stationary for an extended period of time. And we can start with the sheriff's. Marty, if you start.
Okay, there is a program basically where you can call in and report structures that are an eyesore that aren't being used. Same way with vehicles. And the way that it goes is you call into the county attorney, then they send us something and we go out and investigate. We take pictures and then we report back to him. And basically we're the ones that says, yeah, it's a structure that's not being used, or it's a vehicle that's not being used. And then he usually sends them a letter, and then later on we get involved in going and talking to the property owners. You know, in communities, that's something that you don't want to have. Buildings that are falling down and eyesores, and that would, to me, if I was going to come to Owen County and want to set up residence and I had a bunch of junk sitting around in an area, I definitely wouldn't want to live in that area. And then the homeowners, for you to have to sit and look at it and deal with that, thank you. You shouldn't have to do that either. But so there is a process, and is a lot of stuff with law enforcement. We count on the community. The community is probably the number one tool that we use. Thank you.
With no planning and zoning here, we deal with nuisance violations every week. From my experience, we do our job, county attorney does his job, fiscal court does their job, but these district judges aren't enforcing them when they go to court. So it's definitely an issue.
And the last question is, which party were you the last election? And if you changed, have you embraced the new ideology?
Yeah, I am a conservative. Like most of Owen County, I stand for God, country, pro-life, and guns. I was originally registered Democrat. I'm not sure if it's before or after the last election, but a few years ago I switched to Republican.
One of the hardest things that I ever done in my life, a decision to make, was switch from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party. And don't misunderstand my reasoning. My grandfather was hardcore Democrat. My dad, hardcore Democrat. As a child growing up, you heard the stories, you know. And I'm not gonna get into what they said the difference in the parties were then. But I think if my dad and my grandfather were still alive, that they would be okay with me switching. I personally don't think I've changed. I think the party's changed. Really do. It's from going back listening to my grandfather and my dad, you know, what they said the Democratic Party was back then, it appears the Republican Party is now. Before I ever thought about running for sheriff, it was on my mind to switch. My wife, we kept saying we need to switch, we need to switch, we need to switch. So we switched, and then I came out for sheriff. But I am conservative. I am a God-fearing Christian. I am pro-gun, pro-life, and as your sheriff, those values will stay. I'm not going to change. Thank you.
All right, we're down to the home stretch. This will be your closing. You'll have 2 minutes each. And as I said, Marty, you're up for this one. You get to close up for 2 minutes, and then we're going to go straight down to the please.
I want to thank the ones that put this on. I wish we'd done more of this in the county. And with that being said, whoever you vote for, whoever gets in office, whichever office, you need to stand behind these people, okay? If your belief is their belief, you need to stand behind them, support them. If not, you need to be in their ear, okay? And that's what's good about these meetings. As a sheriff, number one, I think you have to be a leader. Okay, you have to be a leader in the community. You have to be able to project, you know, that things are going to be all right. I've always prided myself in being able to talk to people. This is not like the brag thing, but most police officers I know, I don't know of one that hasn't used a taser on an individual. Okay, I have not. 41 years of law enforcement. Of course, back in the early years, we didn't have it. We had other stuff. This here, being able to talk to people, okay? And that being said, I want to be the most personal sheriff Owen County's ever had. You got a problem, I don't care what it is. If it's not a problem that I can take care of, we will find someone that can take care of. Whether you want to come to the sheriff's office, whether you want me at your home to talk about whatever it is, that's what I want to be. And I think as a sheriff, you know, I go out and I hear people, I talk to people, especially in this election. There are people that are scared to leave their homes. Like, that's unacceptable to me. Okay, I want to be able to, for those people to call me up and, you know, ask me questions where I can comfort them. And that's the sheriff I will be. Thank you.
Thank you. You're all done.
Can I go sit with my wife?
Brent, please.
I've worked here almost 18 years. I've had the same opportunity as everyone else to leave for higher paying police jobs in our region. This is my home, and I chose to stay because I'm committed to this community. I believe my experience has prepared me to be the sheriff, and I'm still young enough to do the job sufficiently. I humbly ask your vote on May 17th.